Today, I have been asked to talk about the upcoming Khmer advocacy training and strategic planning session, and to talk about Hat A Wisdom Kan. Today is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to give you a little bit more of a personal reason rather than a high-level talking point. First, I want to recognize that yes, there are major changes taking place that are affecting many countries in significant ways, especially here in the United States. Especially here in Nasong but specifically in the context of our work with Cambodia. These changes make Khmer advocacy efforts even more important, even more critical than before. I want to start off by giving you a little bit of a background about me. In 2012, right before I created Save Cambodia, I was still working at a pharmacy, and I came up and heard, I would see my parents, I would come home and I would the Bangkok situation. My parents kept watching this video. I kept seeing houses being bulldozed and children crying, and I couldn't understand what was happening. The only thing that I knew about Cambodia at the time, growing up, was about the history and the culture of Khmer. But the good stuff about Cambodia, more of the beauty of the culture of Khmer. So I asked my dad, one day I went to his room, the video, and he told me, he said, but since no, in a couple more decades, it will be gone. Cambodia will be gone? What does that even mean? So it sparked my curiosity, and I decided to go to Cambodia for 2 weeks. At the time, my parents were very involved in politics. They were involved in HRP. At the time, they invited me to travel to Cambodia while they were campaigning. So you can come with us and pay you a day. So I said, okay, it's free. And so while they were talking to the villagers, I decided to walk in the villages, and it was my first time seeing how people lived. Hello, yay, yay, and Kim Kun yay, boom, yama. And her teeth is cloud, and so she would spit in the can. And kids who didn't have any clothes, just running around, and also it was very nice to see, and just listening to what are people talking about, what are people's interests in. And then even in Krung Phnom Penh, I had traveled a lot too to see the different situations in Sok Khmer. While I was there, I learned that there were over 3,000 nonprofits in Cambodia at the time. And I was thinking, and after traveling and after listening to Khmer people, I realized, okay, I've realized what the issue is. He was about to leave to, I think the Philippines or Thailand, I can't remember. He was gonna go meet Samrangsi, and this was when they were gonna combine and make C and RP. I didn't know this at the time, you know, because ពេលហ្នឹងខ្ញុំអត់តាមដានរឿងនយោបាយឯងខ្ញុំចេះតែគេ they offered me to ធ្វើតាមតាណាជាមួយគេខ្ញុំទៅ so I came all good and I said thank you so much boo, but I can't get involved in politics right now because it's not sustainable. I said នយោបាយវាឡើងចុះរហូតពេលwhen you fall, who gets affected the most? It's the people. The people are the ones that get affected the most, and there's no cushion to support them. So I said, when time gets tough, when it gets worse, the people don't know where to look for support and how to move forward. And when I got on the airplane, that's when I realized, what is the problem? Why is it not working? And I said, because the Khmer community does not have a connection to the international community. So I decided to create Save Cambodia. I also think that it was important for people to be aware of the process. How does the process work? ពេលហ្នឹងខ្ញុំឃើញខ្មែរយើងអត់សូវដឹងថាវាមានផ្លូវអីណាក្នុងអន្តរជាតិដែល they can give you a voice ឲ្យគេឮបានឲ្យគេជួយយើងបានពេលខ្ញុំចាប់ផ្ដើមទៅអង្គការសហប្រជាជាតិ for the first I think 4 years I traveled a lot to Geneva, New York, and I almost never saw Khmer people. And Kim Suo Gate I Kim Suo do you see Khmer, you know, people here at the UN? They said people who have been there for 30, 40 years, Manunu, Onkaz Habjit Nang Taka, Sam Subside, Subsnam, Sutam, and Khmer, Khmer, they get so curry name in a Kyom Nang, Bantai. When this comprehensive review, Becky, who's a client, but to see someone as engaged in the process every day, no, you. I said, okay, that's a problem. But the last couple of years, after I started learning more about the community, I decided to become more engaged. To get the Khmer community more engaged in the process, learning how can you access the international community? How can you get the Khmer community to get their voices to be heard? How can you get key policymakers to take action? How can you get a response, an effective response from the Cambodian government themselves? In reality, but God, no government wants to hear anything bad about them. I'm not defending any government. I'm just saying that it's the reality of the situation. And it's important that the Khmer people understand the different ways in how to get people to hear you in the most effective and safe way. Now that you allow Satana people, the situation, the second situation now you see the United States is changing. Major changes are taking place. And the same question that comes up again, that I see a lot of Khmer people, some are upset, some are happy. And that's not the point of this, but the point is that every time a situation changes, every time the world changes, what can our Khmer advocates handle it? Do you know the process? Do you know how to engage in the process? Can you be strategic to adapt to these changes, rather than sitting and just saying, I give up, I'm sad, there's nothing I can do about it, I give up. So where is your support? How do you move forward? And despite all of this, Save Cambodia is still going to continue. We're always trying to be as strategic as possible and trying to adapt to any situation. So we are going to create a virtual international Khmer advocacy and strategic planning session to make sure that the momentum continues. People you want to like no be by nang be sangkum Khmer ចាប់ផ្ដើមធ្វើការជាមួយយើង តាមផ្លូវដែលជាមួយអន្តរជាតិហ្នឹង and we want to make sure that Cambodian advocates continue to receive support, strategies, and international connections to sustain themselves during this critical time. And this is not just for Khmer នៅក្នុងស្រុក this is for Khmer ក្នុងពិភពលោក ខ្ញុំដឹងថា advocating inស្រុកខ្មែរ now is more challenging than ever, but effective strategies do exist, and we have been sharing this over and over with you, and our team has been telling you what these successes are, and it's really important for you to know because you want to build on these successes. វាយើងមានជោគជ័យហើយវាមិនជោគជ័យដែលយើងភ្លេចទេយើងចេះតែបោះចោល No, that's not how it works. យើងត្រូវយល់ថាហេតុអីវាជោគជ័យ and វាជោគជ័យហើយ how can we build on top of it? How can we make it stronger? So in this virtual international Khmer advocacy strategic planning training that we will do, it will address what are those recent advocacy successes. We will share with you the models that you can use and replicate to help you turn these concerns that you have into global advocacy. And how can you mobilize the international support to help bring more meaningful and effective change to Cambodia. So there's a lot of successes coming, and training sometimes it's hard for me to answer to my people because I feel like it's a little long. But I feel that I'm giving you the personal reason why, because I started this organization, like I said, for the very reason why I saw that Khmer people needed better support. Why Khmer people need to have more access to the international community, to engage with the international community. គិតរឿងយុទ្ធសាស្ត្រច្រើនជាងលេងអុកចឹងណាឥឡូវរឿងទី2មកហើយមិនចេះតែនៅស្រុកខ្មែរទេប៉ុន្តែរឿងនៅក្នុងស្រុកអាមេរិកទៀត So this is always going to be important, and this training is going to help you how you can continue getting your voice heard, how to make yourself relevant for any situations that come up in the world. So, Akun.